Hello everybody, welcome back to Trash Academy. My name is Eliseo and today we're going to be talking about watersheds and what happens when it rains in a huge city like Los Angeles, how it's affecting our natural environment and also ourselves. Now, what is a watershed? A watershed is basically anywhere water collects both on land and also underground. But it's also how it connects rivers, streams, and even the ocean. A watershed can be seen more as a story of a raindrop and how it goes from land to a great body of water. Now, the water cycle describes how water evaporates from the surface of the earth, rises into the atmosphere, cools, and condenses into rain or snow, and falls once again on the surface as precipitation. The water falling on land collects in rivers, lakes, soils, and even porous layers of rocks. Much of it flows back into the oceans where it'll once be evaporated, and this cycling of water in and out of our atmosphere is significant to the aspects of weather here on Earth. So here's a question for all of you. How does rainwater get to the ocean when there's a huge city like Los Angeles in the way? If you were thinking storm drains or even gutters, you're actually correct. Storm drains were made to stop cities from flooding when it rains. Cities like Los Angeles are covered in cement, and without storm drains, the water would be trapped in our streets, sidewalks, and even homes and stores. But even though this is a very clever idea, storm drains can cause problems when rainwater gets mixed with other chemicals such as oils and trash that lead directly into our ocean. We know that cities have cars, factories, and a lot of waste, and some of that ends up in our streets, alleys, and even our sidewalks. Storm drains can bring a lot of pollution into our oceans. Many plastics, both big and very, very small, often get carried through underground pipes and tunnels and are released straight into our ocean. Natural rivers can also carry pollution if there's a very large city nearby. All that water that goes into the ocean and that comes out of our storm drains is actually called stormwater. Now here's a picture of a sewer system, and everything you flush down the toilet, your kitchen sink, and even your shower drain, basically anything that goes down the drain from your home actually ends up at one of these sewer treatment plants. The first step is to filter all the solids and large objects, which are then collected in dumpsters and disposed of in landfills. Fat and grease is also removed before the first steps of the cleaning process. Now, sewage treatment and stormwater treatment are the steps necessary to remove the contaminants, also known as nasty chemicals and waste, from a city's wastewater that is mostly household sewage, plus some industrial wastewater. Now, cleaning this water can involve physical, chemical, and even biological treatment. Now, all these steps are used to remove the contaminants and produce treated wastewater. Now, effluent means wastewater that has been cleaned from chemicals and gunk that is safe enough to be released into our environment, like rivers and even oceans. Now, the sewage sludge has to undergo even more treatment before it is used for fertilizers and even agricultural processes. Now, stormwater pollution happens when rain falls on things that don't absorb water, things like rooftops and streets. All that water that falls on a city picks up trash and plastics of all sizes, and they go straight into these storm drains. All that water is known as runoff or even stormwater, and it washes down the drain and is carried directly into the nearest body of water without being cleaned or treated. Now, this doesn't happen all over the world because areas with forests and meadows allow the rain to be absorbed into the ground or allowed to be evaporated into the atmosphere. But surfaces like paved streets, roofs, and other surfaces that do not soak up the water make this rain mix with untreated, contaminated runoff and flows straight into our streams, rivers, and oceans, sending all this water filled with trash and chemicals into our beaches, contaminating birds, fish, and even marine mammals. And stormwater is just one way that microplastics make their way from our cities into our oceans. Now, naturally, our waterways are able to clean extra nutrients with the help of plants, gravity, and a series of steps that usually happen naturally as water makes its way through wetlands, swamps, and straight into a large body of water. Around the world, 2.1 billion people don't have safe drinking water, and 4.5 billion people don't have the tools or help to safely clean their water. Almost 80% of all diseases all around the world are associated with water. Watersheds that haven't been taken care of can lead into an increased need for stored water in containers that serves as a home for many mosquito varieties. Communities of people who don't have clean, safe drinking water have to buy plastic water bottles, making the plastic problem a lot worse. Now, around the world, many plastics get downcycled into microfibers, a synthetic fiber, basically a string made out of no natural ingredients. Now, microfiber is extremely small, almost a fifth of the diameter of a human hair. These fibers are used to make mats, knits, clothes, and even cleaning products. The shape, size, and mix of the synthetic fibers are picked due to its softness, toughness, absorption, or how it repels water.
What do you think when you hear the word polyester? 70s leisure suits? Sweaty smelling dress shirts? That's what polyester used to be. These days, everybody wears it. Yoga pants, fleeces, even underwear. All made from synthetic fabrics like polyester. More polyester means more demand for the stuff used to make polyester. But you don't have to use new stuff to make it. Some companies are making polyester out of old stuff. Plastic bottles, in fact. Every day, the world throws away billions and billions of plastic bottles. That's a problem. Of course, the real solution is that we all use less plastic. But it's cool that even while we work to reduce plastic, some companies are turning trash into stuff we actually like. Drink it, drop it in the bin, take it to a recycling factory, chop it up, weave it, wear it, wash it, wear it again, wash it again. Seems like a great solution, right? But darn, when we look closer, there are some real problems with this. The big problem is that some people might be encouraged to use more disposable plastic if they think it's being recycled safely. But there's also a little problem, a micro problem that's adding up to one big mess. Every time we wash synthetic fabrics, whether they're made from recycled bottles or brand new materials, super tiny pieces of plastic, called microfibers, wash off and flow down the drain. Up to hundreds of thousands each wash. The older our clothes get, the worse the problem can become. Yikes! These fibers are so tiny, water treatment plants don't catch them all, so they wind up in rivers, lakes, and even the ocean. When they reach the ocean, they act like sponges, sucking up other pollutants around them. They're like little toxic bombs full of motor oil, pesticides, and industrial chemicals that end up in the bellies of fish and eventually in the bellies of us. It's gross. It's already estimated there are 1.4 million trillion in our oceans. That's like 200 million microfibers for every person on the planet. These are some serious downsides to what looked like a good solution. Time for these creative companies to go back to the drawing board. Because while we can wash our clothes less or avoid buying synthetic clothing, we can't solve the problem without them. And if we want these companies to make it a top priority, they need to hear from you. Let's find a real solution to make our clothes safe for the environment, safe for the ocean, and safe for us.
Now, there's been a lot of science and research in the last few years, and we're learning more and more about these microplastics every single day. A study with the San Francisco Estuary Institute looked at stormwater, surface water, sediment, and even small fish throughout the bay, and found microplastic pollution in every single part of the bay, with some of the highest concentrations measured to date. This study also included that stormwater has 300 times more microplastics than wastewater. Now, here are some of the solutions to our San Francisco microplastic study. Things like rain gardens copy what happens in nature with a few changes to accommodate plastic. These new designs help stop a lot of nutrients and microplastics from entering creeks, rivers, and even oceans. A related study done by the San Francisco Estuary Institute showed that rain gardens would actually help remove 90% of all microplastics from urban stormwater runoff. Each year, stormwater transports an estimate of 7 trillion microplastics through creeks and streams to the San Francisco Bay Area alone, and nearly half are black rubbery fragments, which may be tire particles washed down from our roads. So how can we fix this problem of microplastics in our homes and also in nature? Well, there are some things you could buy, like these filter bags that capture microplastics from some of our synthetic clothes in our washing machines. And although this is a great idea, there's a more upstream solution to tackle this plastic pollution problem. Now, I know you're all very young, but your voice matters, and standing up for something that is harming you and your environment should always be important. Changing policy is like changing the rules, and it's about time that big companies take care of their plastic trash and everything that comes with it. Cities like San Francisco and others are working to reduce single-use plastics such as cups and to-go containers because microplastics have been found in every single part of the bay, including water, fish, and even sediment. Now, I want to remind all of you that the best way to fight plastic pollution is through upstream solutions and through policy. And I want to thank all of you for joining us here in Trash Academy, and I hope to see you all real soon. My name is Eliseo y hasta luego.